Hello and welcome once again to Sailboat Ads, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today we are going across the pond to my childhood home of the United Kingdom. My family lived in London and we owned four cruising boats on the south coast of England. And all the boats we're going to look at today are boats that I have a personal kind of connection to, and in fact we owned one, um, just like one of these here, and that's what we're going to start with. So let's get to it. Um, I am going to switch over to uh, my ads over here and change to that. So the Consort was actually the third boat we owned. We had two Albans. We had a Vega and a Ballad, which were not widely sold in the United States. And actually, Westerly wasn't either. Westerly was, they actually sold a ton of boats back um, in the 60s. They were known as they're a British brand, and they were known as kind of decent value, not very well put together, kind of clunky looking. And actually, this boat is a little clunky looking, but it was huge for. They've got it listed at 28 feet. I think it was actually closer to 30, but the Alban Ballad that we had was also a 30 footer, and this felt like it had two or three times the amount of interior space. But let's take a look at the description. So this is a bilge keel. Our boat was a fin keel. Bilge keel, if you're not familiar with that, because this is not a very popular arrangement in the United States. Bilge keels, there are two of them, and they're shorter, and they're actually designed to allow the boat to go high and dry in the mud with where you have big tidal variations from low to high. And certainly a lot of the UK has huge tides where we sailed in the Solent mostly 8 to 10 feet was not unusual from low to high. And so some guys would actually do maintenance. They'd let their boat dry out in the mud and they'd get out and scrub the bottom or paint the bottom or whatever they could do between the time they had between low tide being out and high tide coming in on them again. So anyhow, let's read our listing here a little bit. This site, let's see if it shows our. It doesn't. This is a site called Tack and Jibe, which feels a little bit like a fancified Craigslist because these are free ads. Um, but a lot of the text we're going to read today sounds like it's AI generated and not very. I don't know. There's lots of repetition. Sought after bilge keel version, only sought after if you want to let it dry out. The boat was not a great sailor with the fin keel. I'm sure it was even worse with the bilge keels. Offering excellent accommodation for up to 6 crew and safe sailing performance. She's well equipped for coastal cruising, features like a roller furling Genoa, in mast reefing, and a full cockpit tent. Maintained by our current owner. So 19.5. Right now, the exchange rate I think is only about $1.15 per pound. So this is, maybe $22,000. Um, Westerly Konsort is the sort after. At least we got the spelling correct up here. Offers great accommodation. Why are we saying the same stuff again? Saloon is spacious with a folding dining table. And one thing I found in these European listings, or at least the UK listings, is they describe everything of the interior, which I don't think is necessary. Great condition for her age. Hot air heating. 12-volt fridge, coolers, box heads. I'm going to actually skip through a lot of this and get to just they've got a nice list here of deck equipment and features. So we have a canvas hatch cover, cockpit cover, bimini, anchor, warps and fenders, boat hook, blah, 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 blah. We have a GPS chart plotter, VHF radio, wind indicator. We've got a NASA SXDSC radio. I should have looked up what that is. If someone knows what that is, please put it in the comments. Compass, comfort and climate, radio, FM, TV aerial, cockpit cushions, solar panel, Renault G. I know that brand. And a 240-volt electric inverter. Of course, their electricity is 220, 240. 4-man life draft, clock, barometer, galley, maneuvering, So they don't say what age the sails are, nor is there any mention of hours on the engine, which I find interesting. Um, so let's get back to our photos. And this was pretty much absolutely required equipment, the Dodger in the UK. Wicked winds, lots and lots of rain, 300 days of rain in the UK, at least in London on the south coast was a little better. Where I live now, we get 300 days of sunshine a year. Not today. It is actually snowing today on May 5th. Um, but a Dodger was absolutely required equipment so that you protected people in the cockpit. Obviously, not a go fast piece of equipment by any means. Um, this boat, I would say, doesn't show very well. These pictures aren't helping it. These are blurry. Why couldn't you spend a little time? This picture looks great. And I do remember that this had lots of this fluffy foam that just got filthy dirty like this stuff did. And the Bukh engine was certainly reliable for us with reasonable access. In these smaller boats, having an inboard can be kind of tricky. Very traditional, sort of medium navy blue with teak or comparable wood trim. Had a nice hanging locker across from the head and a very clever design where the sink actually slid out on these rails. And here was your little pump, and it dropped right into the toilet, which is right underneath it. I just realized that I'm losing a little bit of my picture. So this was the quarter berth, which we never used, even though it had a little port light. Why take pictures of your boat with all the junk in the way? That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Nice 2-burner stove. This actually was a pretty decent sized galley for the size boat it was. Um, you had prep spaces here and to the right of the sink, and just about enough room for an adult to stand up. Um, Pretty nice nav setup. Again, if you're going to take pictures of the boat, don't leave all the clutter sitting around. Just tidy it up. Um, this looks kind of sad. If you're going to take a close-up picture of your nautical clock, why don't you give it a little spiffy do with some metal cleaner? But I think you can see there's a remarkable amount of room in here for a 28 footer. Um, yeah, not bad at all. Teak and holly sole. Cushions and pillows look like they're in nice shape. And now we go topside. And again, this boat looks like it's in pretty decent condition. It feels like a lot of boat for 20-ish thousand, but there's definitely some kind of deferred maintenance items. In mass furling, not my favorite, but this sail looks like it's in decent shape. Sorry, I thought I wasn't recording. Um, there's one little solar panel. Here's your Dodger up close and personal, and this actually looks like it's really new. You do have a main sheet traveler, sorry, a little senior moment there. And we are back to the start. So, yeah, nice boat. Certainly brings back memories for me. A lot to like about it for 20,000 ish. Um, this would not have been our boat because it's not the right age, and they sold a fair number of them. So, moving on to the next one, we're going to move up in size, and I'm kind of doing these in order of, I don't know, just what makes sense to me. This is a Moody, and my connection with this particular boat is that Moody was a uh, a marina, very very big marina on the south coast of England, and they started getting to boat building. And this is one of the many designs that they came up with. This is a big old girl, 41 footer, 1978, for 39,000 pounds. Again, I think it's about 1.25 for dollars. So this is a little over $40,000. So definitely not bad. Um, I am going to go back to the start of the pics, but let's take a look at the description real briefly. And again, lots of repetition in this one. Well maintained, 42cc ideal for blue water cruising. Features spacious interior, 3 cabins, secure center cockpit. Ideal blue water cruiser, large secure center cockpit, very spacious interior. I mean, come on, that just sounds like AI to me. 72 horsepower engine, just serviced in 2025. That is a big engine for 42 footer. And running rigging renewed in 2021. This is one of those boats where I look at this big boat, 41 feet, tons of interior room. Looks from the picture like it's in decent shape. What's the catch? Why is it only 40 grand? I mean, it is an older boat, but so this has a huge description of the interior, which I'm not going to go through. I'm going to move along to their listing of equipment and features down here. So I have instruments, depth at helm, boat speed at helm, wind speed and direction, GPS navigator, radar plotter and fish finder, autopilot, VH radio. I mean, it looks like they've got all the good electronic stuff. Fixed canopy with opening roof hatches. We're going to address that in a sec. Fixed windscreens and side windows, extension canopy to enclose the cockpit, roll-up sides, mainsail, mizzen covers. U-shaped cockpit. You're rarely going to find air conditioning in UK boats. Just really is unnecessary. In the 7 years that I lived there, the highest temperature anywhere in the country was 93 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we got to 80, the old ladies were passing out in the streets. Deck equipment, maneuvering. This does have a bow thruster. Quite a modest little inflatable Avon dinghy with a 3.3. You're not going to put 6 of your big buddies in that thing. Sails. Let's get to the pictures. We have cut off the bottom. I am not sure what's going on here. I apologize. Yeah, that's a little better. See a very large fixed cabin top. Kind of a not very elegant looking boat, but not terrible. Some of these pictures are quite blurry. Don't understand why you put this out in your ad. Here we've gone with traditional kind of a wine colored red. This is an odd station that they spend a lot of time taking pictures of. And if anybody knows what this thing is, it looks like some kind of ship to shore phone from 1978 tech, but a voluminous interior. This is your passageway to the V berth. Nice large V berth. Obviously, you have an insert. Looks like you've got a good hanging locker. Bad picture of your potty. They did say in the description that this is a bunk berth setup, and you can pop these bolts right here and fold this up so that if you've just got a single guest, they don't have this thing hanging over their head. That seems like a intelligent design. And there it is, folded up. Very nice. There's a little better quality picture on this one. Get rid of the dumb picture though. Big U-shaped salon or settee. There it is. Although we've now lost our pretty color. And another picture of that. You definitely get a crowd there. Yeah, I'm just not understanding this corner. Is this supposed to be a chart table? It'd be very difficult to sit there and get access to that. It looks like you have chart drawers underneath. And then you transition to your galley a little further back. Here's your galley and extends into the passageway to the aft cabin. And yeah, not a great galley for a boat this size. Your prep space is fairly limited. You've got a 4-burner, nice big sink. Looks like some of the wood is looking a little tired. And then better access to the aft cabin. Here's engine access. It looks like the engine is in good shape. And this to me is just some odd design choices here. So we've got a giant berth here, double, I would say king-sized. And your access to it is terrible. You get to squeeze through this one little opening. I wonder if some of this is structural. why leave this here? Why not just cut that out? I can't imagine that's holding anything up. Maybe the bulkhead is structural, but take this out so that people can get in and out of this space. Also looks kind of gloomy. You know, the Brits were, it's always gray outside, so they don't care if they get lots of light. Looks like you've got a cute little vanity space here with a mirror. And the second head looks like you've got a shower curtain, and we are now about to go outside. So this is actually a deckhouse saloon. And my comment about these overhead hatches, if this is a great boat for the UK, because this is going to be super protected. I don't know if you've ever seen these things, they spin very quickly so that water doesn't stick to them. So even if you've got water, salt and rain sticking to your main pieces of glass, you can still see out through these things. Very traditional, old school wheel. But if you were in the tropics, this would be horrible. Bahamas, Caribbean, and these hatches actually face backwards, so you wouldn't even be scooping air into the space if we were moving. My guess is this would be very uncomfortable if you were in the Caribbean. Here's the rest of our cockpit. This has a top-down access to your engine, full enclosure, and you can see some of this just doesn't look like it's very well kept, and my guess is that that's reflected in the price. This stuff was fairly popular. I haven't seen a lot in the United States. It's kind of a waffle material that they would stick down. Great grip, but not very attractive. And this material definitely needs a good power wash. You can see a lot of mold here. Your door aids are obviously looking sun discolored. The cover for your life raft is all dirty. And yeah, this is just crying out for a big old power wash day. This stuff really good underfoot, I will say. It's just not very attractive, and obviously it captures water and then mold grows because there's all kinds of nasty green stuff in there. Again, some of this looks like it needed a good metal polish. And yeah, that's about it. Swanwick, how was the marina we used to keep our boats at? That was a great marina. Loved the place. And there's Ocean Phoenix again, and I realize that I am on 17 minutes, so I am going to call that a day. My last boat was a Swan, and it was, yeah, it would take another 10 minutes to go through that one because it's a beauty. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip across the pond. Lots of great memories for me as a kid. I lived there between the ages of 11 and 18. And I went back to visit many times when my parents still owned they owned another cruiser bigger than this one called a Sadler 34, another boat that I loved. And yeah, so that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed our little trip, and see you next week.